me unmute the mic. Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk finally about The Walking Dead issue 182. I'll be honest with you, I'm usually on point with The Walking Dead reviews. At least in the last 2 years, I have had the review up the same day, or at least within a few hours. That's probably a lie, but the same day, definitely, within the last 2 years. However, I'll be honest, this new Commonwealth storyline, I just wasn't that motivated to really read it. I kept remembering I wanted to read it. It wasn't like I was like, I'm giving up on it. I kept thinking like I was cooking dinner, and I was like, oh my god, I got to read that issue and review it, obviously. And then I would forget as soon as I'm done cooking dinner, and I would do something else. You know what I'm saying? So I finally sat down to read it and review it, and I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought. I thought I would just skim through it and be like, yeah, it's another builder issue, which it is. But it was also a lot more enjoyable than some of the more recent ones in the New World Order story arc for me personally. Let's kick it off with the beginning. Now, for those who maybe haven't read it yet, this issue primarily revolves around Rick Grimes taking the governor, Pamela Milton, the new governor, taking her through the different communities. In the very beginning, we start at the sanctuary, and it's a very interesting and surprising introduction of the sanctuary, or reintroduction of the sanctuary ever since they severed ties with Rick and gang. I'm surprised they haven't made a t-shirt Rick and gang yet, but anyhow, so the sanctuary's growing a garden. John is there talking to a kid who wants to go to some more shooting practice, and he explains how they trade for things like wood and lumber. What word am I looking for? It's better for them. They'll be better off growing their own food instead of having to rely on other communities for that. Comparing, and it's actually really smart. He compares how they break their backs for the wood and all that other shit that they do for the communities in trade and services for food. So this way, they don't have to break their backs as much or in a different way. And even if maybe, let's say, they don't need as much wood for trade, maybe you're not getting as much food. So yeah, it just makes sense that you would be able to sustain your own community within your community or near your community and not rely solely on trade. So I really like that. And he said something about Negan's way was taking things and it made enemies, and their way is going to be about giving and it makes friends. And I like that. A part of me thought all throughout the issue that he was in, is he being slippery? I'm not sure yet, because we still don't trust him because of how he was a little slippery previously, and some of the things he said previously. Now, they did talk about Negan and his story after Pamela Milton looked around the sanctuary. She said, well, what's up with this Negan guy? Let me hear a little bit about him. Then in that one panel, Rick says, okay, let's do it, And you see the little hand, and I thought this was just a beautiful touch in the one panel. I'm just going to put the picture up because it's awesome. But you see Rick there, and you got the ping pong handle. Obviously, this connects to Negan in a number of ways. When we first were introduced to Negan, and then the war kicked off, or around All Out War, I believe, they showed he liked playing ping pong at the sanctuary. But then, more importantly, we found out through his flashbacks he was playing ping pong with kids in his school, and he was their coach and stuff like that. So the ping pong kind of, goes with Negan. Oh, there was another little moment that I really liked, and I like how it wasn't beating us in the face with it, but Rick is talking to Dwight. They, resolve their issues, and I'm happy about that now. I did not like that Dwight losing his shit. I felt like it was artificial conflict bloated into the story just because it's a comic, structure of telling a story. You always have to have those potential burning conflicts and the cliffhangers. I just didn't like that one bit. But I like how they resolve that. And then Rick says, I'm happy you have each other. And Dwight and Laura ride off. There was a cute moment, too, where he was about to say something nice. And Laura's like, yeah, I'm right behind you. So I did like that. And once they ride off, there's just that one sole panel, a close-up on Rick. And he kind of has his head down, I believe. And this is the moment. Get it? He's like, I'm happy you guys have each other. He's still mourning. In this one silent panel, a reader that's paying attention to the story, you understand he's still mourning the loss of Andrea. And that makes sense because later on, he tells his kid he's constantly thinking about it. And the only time he didn't think about it is when he initially saw Carl again at the hilltop. Again, it's a nice touch. It's a nice addition into the writing that I absolutely love, the smaller moments. And then I believe after that was also another panel of Rick riding alone, or not really alone, but you get what they're trying to get at in those moments. So he takes Pamela Milton to the hilltop, and I do like how Maggie is kind of standoffish. I really like that. And the hilltop is definitely rebuilt a lot faster than we expected, a lot faster than the characters expected. And it looks great. It's exciting to see what direction they go with the hilltop, because at this point in time, there's no reason to destroy it again. So we have a great interaction between Carl and Rick, which when I'm reading it, I'm loving it in the story. I really like how that's unfolding. But I'll be honest, I felt a little bummed out at the same time, you know, preparing for what we're going to see in the upcoming season. Carl's dead. Rick is leaving. Maggie just confirmed even more in a new interview that yes, you know, 100%, this is her last season for now. They haven't, you know, negotiated anything further, but this is her last season and it is open-ended. So take that, take with that what you will, or whatever they say. There's a funny moment, though. I really liked maybe I thought it was a little funnier than it really was, but Maggie is, again, standoffish, and she says, listen, I don't trust people who smile all the time. It makes it seem like it's a lie. That's not really true. And then Pamela Milton, you know, says like, no, this is real. This is what we're doing. But they do two panels where she says, no, I don't want you to call me the president and put my picture on the wall. I want us to work together in communities to grow and prosper. But when they do the second panel, she takes the smile off. And I kind of feel like they played it, in my opinion, I still enjoyed it, but I think they played it to where Pamela Milton was kind of bummed out and sad, like stopped smiling because she got called on it, and it kind of like knocked her excitement down a little. And I thought it would have been a better character moment for Pamela Milton to be purposefully playful in that moment. Realize she is smiling when she's saying it, and then when she finishes talking to Maggie, she takes the smile away. But it's more like a confident, firm, playful, and it didn't seem like they went that direction just because of her eyes. It's a little nitpick thing that I personally thought would have made it just a touch better, but I still enjoyed that small part that some people might have even missed. That might have been a hard one to miss. But the next part, though, where Maggie is like, I'm not really buying this yet. We're going to have to wait and see for ourselves. And Rick is like, yo, Maggie, you're being a little rude. I didn't like that part straight up, I'll be honest. Rick, above everyone else, missing his hand, should know better. Should know, let's go into everything being cautious. You know what I mean? I forgot. I was wearing my beater hat. This thing is so old. This came out when like Sons of Anarchy was out. Oh god, I'm gonna have to keep it on for the rest of the thing now. Anyway, and that pretty much ends it out with Rick getting in the carriage with Pamela Milton to go to see the Commonwealth now. And the two issues following this issue has the riot cover, which it looks like there's riots popping off in the Commonwealth with Michonne and Elodie on the cover. And the issue after that is the new cover I didn't do a video on. I figured we would just tack it on to this. And I'm glad I waited because it makes perfect sense now that we see this. Pamela talks about the distance being a problem like 2 or 3 times in this issue, and I do believe that cover is them fast-tracking a solution, and it is pretty exciting and neat if they can actually get a train up and running. Obviously, it would make more sense if they had like a coal train, and then again, we are getting more of a Wild West future for The Walking Dead, and this is something that I've been talking about. It could be the only direction The Walking Dead goes in. It can't simmer around strictly because of the realism. The Walking Dead is grounded in that realism, and food is a huge problem for characters just venturing out and scavenging for food. It is wildly ridiculous, and it makes much more sense for Robert Kirkman to go in a zombie apocalyptic western from this point on style, not go nuts with it, you know what I'm saying, but similar in that aspect. And having a train, a coal train, or I don't know anything about trains, so having a train bring them faster from one community to the next that far away opens up more possibilities in the storytelling and in this world. So that cover is exciting in that way. 2 things I do want to finish out. Nope, I lied. I already talked about the cover. The last thing I want to finish this out, a lot of people are going nuts with Negan not being in The Walking Dead anymore. And to be honest, I didn't do a video on it because I don't believe it. First off, a lot of people are saying Robert Kirkman said this, and I thought it was kind of odd. I looked it up and I couldn't find anywhere where he said this. And then at the end of the, and now keep in mind, that was like a lot of messages. So these could be people seeing headlines or hearing people, and maybe the story got mixed up. But if you look at the letter hacks, it's actually the editor, Sean, who says it, not Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman is in the italics and Sean is in the bold. And Robert Kirkman doesn't even comment on this, but it's Sean. But he says, if we ever see Negan again, and we won't, he's done with the bat. Well, Sean is definitely telling the truth about Negan being done with the bat. That's the whole point of that Maggie moment when he got rid of the bat. He was going to rebuild the bat. That part of Negan is dead, and that was the conclusion of Negan. I did a video on that, and I talked about that being the death of Negan, and I still 100% firmly believe that. Negan is dead and gone, and maybe I should do my own video, and I think I will, because now the YouTuber in me is clicking like, oh my God, Ronnie, you can take clickbait and bring the realism to that. You can bring people back to reality, realistic expectations. But I'm going to do that still, but I'm not going to make you wait for the answer. I'm going to tell you the answer right now. It's your little bonus for sticking with me for 14 minutes. Negan is dead. He's dead and gone, got rid of the bat. Negan will still be in the story, like the Negan we know, the person, the physical blood and flesh. But the leader Negan, the killer, the murderer, the person who killed Glenn, the person who went to war with the communities, the person who had wives, and well, all right, come on. He's still going to have some characteristics of the Negan character, foul mouth and yada, 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 but that version of Negan the Tyrant will be gone. I wouldn't be surprised if we found out his full name. Maybe it was John Negan, Sampson or some crazy shit like that. And Negan was a middle name, and we later, that was his whole stupid name. But let's just say we found out his name is, Sampson or some shit like that. And then that comes up in conversation, and that's what he goes by. That seems a little corny. He could go by Negan still, but it wouldn't be the Negan. But that's what I'm basically getting at. Yeah, Negan is dead and gone symbolically. And again, that is only my opinion. You guys let me know, what do you think about that? Do you think that's real or not? And look forward to that clickbait video. And I don't know, because that'll be interesting, because I'm definitely making it. All right, put your thoughts, theories, and opinions down in that comment box. I'm done talking, so it's your time.